All right, simplifying expressions. When we simplify expressions, we want to make sure they have the same last name. So for instance, 3x plus 4, they have different last names. This one has an x, this one doesn't. But if I do 3x plus 4 plus 2x, then these both have the same last name. And I like to box these. And when you box them, you always want to include the number and the sign in front of the number. In this case, the plus sign. So I read that as 3x plus 2x, which is 5x. And then you can circle your other number there and just bring it down, plus 4. It's also a good idea to mark these off as you go. So after I combine these, I just mark them off, and there's my 5x. All right, if we try another one and we simplified x minus 4 plus 3x plus 2. Here I'm going to box my like terms, so my x and my plus 3x get boxed, and I'm going to circle the minus 4 and the plus 2. So I'm going to combine these guys first. The x and the 3x, that's really a 1x. So 1x plus 3x gives me 4x. Now I can mark those off. Negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. So I can mark those off. Now, if we have distributive property uses multiplication. So we need to make sure we're still using our order of operations, which means we multiply before we add. So let's say our example looked like this. If we had 7 minus 2x plus 3 and then we had parentheses 4x minus 6. So here we're going to multiply first. That means use distributive property. So I'm going to multiply here and multiply here. So that's 3 times 4x, which is 12x, 3 times negative 6, which is negative 18. And I bring everything else down, and that's a positive 12x, so I'm going to put a plus. And now I'm going to box and circle my like terms. So my 7 and my plus 12, and my negative 18 get combined, and then my negative 2x and my plus 12x get combined. And negative 2x plus 12x gives me 10x. I'm going to mark those off because I've completed those. And 7 minus 18 gives me negative 11. So I can mark those off. So it's 10x minus 11. Now one more thing to consider is we want to circle the outside number for distributive property, and if there's just a negative sign, we're going to make it a negative 1. In other words, that was a negative 3 that I combined. I'm sorry, that was a positive 3, wasn't it? That's a positive 3 that I distributed, and you want to circle that sign with it. That way you don't use that sign twice. You only want to use it once. It's just like a cup. After you drink out of your cup, you're done with it, and you either put it in the dishwasher, or if it's a disposable cup, you'll throw it away, right? So after you use it, you're done with it. So let's try one that uses a negative there. So for instance, 4 minus 3 parentheses 7x minus 1 and then plus 2x. So I'm going to circle the negative 3, I'm going to distribute it. Remember, I multiply first. That's why I use distributive property first. And I'm going to bring down my 4. And negative 3 times 7x is a negative 21x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. And then I bring down my plus 2x. And now we just combine them. So 4 combines with the 3, the plus 3, and negative 21x combines with the plus 2x. And I'm going to do my x's first, because I should always write the x's and then the number after that, the constant. So negative 21x plus 2x is negative 19x, and 4 plus 3 is positive 7, and that's my final answer. All right, and for my last example, I'm going to use one that has a negative sign. So let's try 3 minus parentheses 7 minus 4x parentheses minus x. So here, this is really distributive property, and that's really like a -1 that I'm distributing. So I'm going to distribute that -1 to the 7, which makes it a -7. -1 times -4x is a positive 4x. And then I just bring down the 3, and I bring down the -x. Notice that we are done with this negative sign right here. We're done with it. We've already used it. And now I combine my like terms. So I have 3 minus 7. Those are like terms. And then plus 4x and minus x are like terms. So I'm going to do my x's first. 4x minus x is 3x. 3 minus 7 is -4. And that's my final answer. All right, I'm going to let you guys try one on your own, and then I'll go over it. Try this one. Let's do 7 minus parentheses 2x minus 4 parentheses minus x plus 1. And please go ahead and pause the video and try that on your own. All right, and now for the solution. It's really a -1, and I'm going to circle it and distribute it. So -1 times 2x is -2x. -1 times -4 is +4. Now I just bring everything else down. So I bring down the 7. I've already used that negative sign, so I'm done with it. I bring down the -x. I bring down the +1. Now I box and circle my like terms. So 7 gets boxed with the +4 and the +1. And then -2x is going to get combined with the -x. So I'm going to combine my x's first. So -2x minus x is -3x. Remember, that's really a -1x. So -2 minus 1 is -3x. And then 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 1 is 12, so it's +12. And that's the final answer. Hopefully you got that right.